Averaging 5,000 meters above sea level, the northern part of Tibet is the world's highest wilderness. At over 4,000 meters, the Tibetan antelope rules the Qinghai Tibet plateau. It's their only habitat. In this vast land, halfway into heaven, oxygen levels are only half that at sea level. Humans have retreated to the edge of this wild terrain, but the plateau is home to 21 types of mammal and 65 bird species. Life and death are intertwined, the cruel and the delightful making casual bedfellows. The most exquisite flowers bloom in this harshest of lands. In the thin, cold air, life clings tenaciously to every opportunity that nature provides. This, the northern Tibetan plateau, is every day stage for drama and wonderment. Halfway to heaven, it's already a wildlife paradise. In winter, the temperature on the plateau can drop to minus 30 degrees centigrade. For many animals, the biggest challenge is finding water. The Tibetan antelope is no exception. Ice and snow are the most readily available sources of the vital liquid. In this season, when the earth lies frozen, all the animals are driven to seek it out. It's a source of life, but also a source of peril. Gradually, the predators gather. A pack of wolves eyes the antelopes calculatingly. The smaller females are easy prey for the pack. A male Tibetan antelope appears in the nick of time to distract the wolves. Adult males can run at speeds of up to 100 kilometers an hour. No predator can run it down. Only in the cold of December do the males return to the herds to form their harems from the wandering females. This is their rutting season. The male antelopes have stored up their energy all year for this moment. In this coldest of seasons, the hottest passions are on display. In this wintry wilderness, the males try to build the biggest harem they can. But earning the right to mate is not easy, and there's always strong competition. Adult male Tibetan antelopes can weigh up to 40 kilograms. Their half-meter-long horns are like daggers. This apparently casual sizing up will shortly lead to a clash that'll be a matter of life and death. No one dares drop their guard. It's a case of winner takes all. Every year there are several fatalities among the bucks. Only the winners will pass their genes to the next generation. Once there were more than 1 million Tibetan antelopes on this vast plateau. Recent conservation efforts have seen numbers restored to over 200,000. "1,000 kilometers to the northwest, the Turpan Depression in East Xinjiang's Gobi Desert is in places 154 meters below sea level. It measures the 4th lowest altitude on the land surface of the planet. The landscape is populated by shifting dunes blown by the wind, which can grow up 500 meters tall. In summer, the surface temperature of the sand can reach 80 degrees centigrade. The searing heat is a threat to life and limb for all creatures, great and small. But in the evenings the heat quickly dissipates and all kinds of renegades emerge from hiding. A species of gecko unique to China, Teratoscincus roborowskii, is among them. Small as it is, it swiftly demonstrates how it earned its common name in Chinese, the sand tiger. The Turpan Basin is the driest place in China. The annual rainfall is just 10 millimeter. In this arid ocean, the sand tiger has mastered the art of finding what water there is to be had. Every day before sunrise, when the desert temperature plunges to its lowest, water vapor condenses on the branches and leaves of small plants. These dewdrops are like clear spring water to a thirsty sand tiger. Thus, the desert is far from bereft of life. Over the vast stretches of yellow sand, these plants grow stubbornly on each tiny oasis for those who know how to take advantage of what they offer. From the far northwest to China's southernmost reaches takes us from sand to sea. The South China Sea covers an area of 3.5 million square kilometers, and its warm tropical waters are home to a magnificent array of aquatic life. More than 1,500 species of fish and over 250 kinds of marine mollusks can be found here. The ideal setting for the richest gatherings of all these extraordinary creatures is the coral reef. Corals are marine invertebrates which live in densely packed colonies. Tropical corals typically live at a depth of less than 40 meters in order to benefit from sunlight, which produces photosynthesis in the symbiotic single-cell organisms that live within their bodies. The reefs produced by the fast and freely growing coral become sanctuaries for a myriad of other exotic inhabitants. One evening in late April, a team of marine biologists puts out to sea. They have been preparing all year for this moment. It's the only opportunity they will have until another 12 months pass. They plan to dive a reef on the one special night of the year when the corals will release their eggs and sperm into the water in an event known as synchronized spawning. Diving at night is tricky. Underwater currents and poor visibility mean the divers can easily get lost. The dangers are not inconsiderable. As they reach the site of the reef, the divers make their final preparations. And then take the plunge into the inky depths. Coral's synchronized spawning is triggered by a succession of environment cues, including rising water temperature, day length, the moon's effect on the tides, and finally, the setting of the sun on the day in question. In major spawning events, the whole sea would become clouded for miles around. The fertilized eggs, called planula, will be carried on the currents to found new colonies, or to provide a feast for a horde of hungry mouths. The scientists collect their samples. From these, they'll be able to study coral growth from scratch in their laboratories and enhance mankind's understanding of how to respect the wonders of the ocean. Spring arrives late on the northern Tibetan plateau. It's June before the snow and ice melt to form streams and rivers. Lake water accounts for a quarter of its surface area. The plateau overall gives rise to the headwaters of many of Asia's great rivers. The warming heat of the sun reanimates the lizard basking on the rocks. Creatures which have been hibernating for 6 months emerge to see the light of day. The marmot ends its sojourn underground. The plateau is lush, green and full of delectable delicacies. The animals stretch and gambol in newfound freedom. Warning cries cause a sudden panic around the grassy burrows. The marmot's underground palaces usually have several entrances. Once inside, they'll no longer be easy meat for any passing predator. the disappointed fox must slink away to think again. By the end of June, after a journey of hundreds of kilometers, the female Tibetan antelopes finally reached their calving area, the south of Kunlun Mountains. To have made it this far is already something of a miracle, overcoming lack of food, mountains and rivers, diseases and venomous pests. Why the Tibetan antelopes make this journey is a secret yet to be unraveled. The exhausted does finally get some rather temporary rest. They've been carrying their offspring for 6 months and are now about to give birth. However, the respite from danger is but slight. Predators have been following the trail of the migration. The Tibetan brown bear is the largest predator on the plateau. It's an opportunist with a large appetite. It can't afford to miss any chance to feed. The bear builds up its energy near the calving site, waiting for whatever bounty comes its way. Out on the expanse of grassland, the does seek to conceal their newborn in the vegetation. The weather on the plateau is highly changeable. This calf has been born in a downpour. There's little cover that can protect it from anything. By instinct, it crouches in the grass to avoid predators. Its mother will keep her distance to avoid attracting attention to it. It must learn to stand and walk within 20 minutes. Only in this way will it find its mother and return to the herd. If it fails to do so, it will soon fall victim to a hungry predator. The baby antelope takes its first faltering steps. It will then embark on a 500-kilometer journey home. Yunnan, in the deepest southwest of China, is famous for its production of tea and medicinal herbs. Living in the mountains, the Dai people are skillful. They decorate their brocaded cloth, handed on from generation to generation, with familiar animals. One such often appears in the brocade, the unmissable Asian elephant. Asian elephants weigh up to 5 tons. They live in the primeval jungle. Each consumes 30 kilograms to 60 kilograms of food every day. Wild elephants usually live in family units. Up to around 10 elephants form a herd. They need a large area to forage, but their rainforest habitat is constantly shrinking. Sometimes the herds have to cross into human territory as they forage for food. Bananas and sugarcane are prized by both man and beast. This can create a dangerous conflict. Farmland and tea plantations expand into the mountains year on year, eating away at the elephants' habitat and natural sources of food. As their living space is squeezed, they're forced into greater contact with the human world. Wild Asian elephants are aggressive, and any encounter with them is dangerous. There are regular reports of wild elephants injuring or even killing humans. As the conflicts intensify, both sides need protection from each other. Forest Ranger Li Duming's job is to track and monitor the elephants wherever they roam. Every day he goes deep into the jungle looking for wild elephants. He informs local villagers if there are elephants in their area. The elephants will often travel 30 kilometers a day in search of food. You can never be sure where they'll turn up next. His quest takes Leader Ming over mountains and down steep ravines. Although elephants are huge, they move surprisingly quietly through the deep forest. The thick foliage makes it difficult to track them. However, elephants love water, and wherever possible their trek will take them at some point to a riverbank playground. Man can level mountains and change the course of rivers, but in the face of the Earth's largest land animal, he is slow, weak, and vulnerable. Today, the villagers, aided by Leader Ming, must learn how to live safely and peaceably with these wonders of nature. In the summer, pika on the northern Tibetan plateau begin to carve out new nests. Under a thick divot, each pika family will excavate its own complex cave system. The plateau pika is the largest grassland population in the world. They have an astounding reproductive capacity, and do so all summer long. Over the course of a season, a female pika can have 2 litters with up to 10 cubs. The steppe cat is the mystery cat of the cat family. Rarely seen, it scans the grassland in search of prey, with incomparable patience and alertness. Barely larger than a domestic cat, in the end it is a deadly killer, which at least goes some way in holding down the exploding pika population. On the roof of the world, the harsh environment and the tenacity of life are in delicate equilibrium. Nature is revealed in its glory as cruel and beautiful in equal measure. Wolves sit at the top of the food chain. The wild yak is the largest animal on the plateau. When the wolves attack, the yaks quickly herd together to protect their calves. An adult wild yak can weigh up to 500 kilograms. A wolf is less than 1/10 of that. However, if the wolves can pick off one unlucky calf, their job will be done. There's little the mother can do now to protect her wounded calf from being harried to death. She stands guard over its corpse for a while, but in the end she will have to leave, and the wolves will have their feast. The notice of the death travels on a breeze. Scavengers closely follow the footsteps of the hunters. First come the noisy ravens. Then the silent vultures join the party. One young life sustains many others. On the desolate plateau, nothing is wasted. All lust and life must pass away to be reborn anew another day. The pattern of life and death is well established on these remote grasslands. Each of the creatures who live on the high plateau will play their part. The Tibetan antelope calves suck at the nutrient-rich milk and absorb the energy their mothers have drawn from the grass. Their course is set. They'll have to join the great migration of the female antelopes from the lower altitude birthing ground back to the high plateau. It's a journey of several hundred kilometers. More than half of the calves will die along the way. Every year, more than 100,000 individuals make this trek across the northern Qinghai Tibet plateau. It's one of the wonders of nature. Only the strongest will survive. It could be no other way, such is the grand sweep of nature.